Welcome back to Salos Wildlife Park. Today we're building a large converted aviary complex for 2 cougars. Let's get into it. Hi, hello, and hey to all of you watching. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today is a bit of a cursed habitat. It kind of killed my PC a little bit. I'll get into that in a moment. But first, the build, I wanted aviaries, and I wanted big cats, and I wanted to push myself to do something with circles, because this is the first time I've actually done a circle build, and I used some mesh frameworks off the workshop to help me along with my sanity, and just kind of made one side look how I wanted it to, spun it around, and yeah, I got these really cool, just simple aviary structures, and I started grouping them together. I kind of wanted it to feel a bit like a small village. And this is the second habitat in our forest area of the park. I tried to make it feel as lush and overgrown as possible, and originally this was just for 1 cougar, but I decided I wanted some kittens, so I do expand it quite a bit further along in the process. Right, so yeah, the problems. I've had a few problems before with the mesh pieces in Planet Zoo. Whatever is coded into them, my PC just does not like very much, and when I have more than like 10 pieces of mesh, everything gets a little bit weird. And despite me playing with the graphic settings, removing a bunch of background detailing and other bits from around the park, I still struggled quite a lot with this build, and I did push it back. This was supposed to go out on Saturday, and I just mentally couldn't, because every time I tried to place something down, the game would lag for like 5 to 10 seconds, and when I'm trying to place down 100 pieces of buffalo grass and ivy, that gets very tiring. So I did spend more time just shooting things on Cyberpunk to let out a bit of steam. But we are finally here. We have finally finished this. I wasn't able to go into as much detail as I wanted for that reason, but I am still relatively happy with how it's come together, and to be honest, every park is going to have something that you're just not super happy with, and it's not an eyesore, and that's really all I care about, and the rest of the park is fine. When I first started noticing the performance problems, I did freak out, and I immediately went to the other corners of the park and tested everything, and no, it's just when these aviaries are in my vision, pretty much, or I'm messing with the lighting engine around them, that my PC just does not like. And I am really privileged to have a great PC. Not top of the line or anything, but it was custom made a year and a half ago now, and her name is Lillian. She's great. She doesn't complain about anything, except for Planet Zoo sometimes. I can run big RPGs with, you know, dozens of gigs of mods and reshade, completely fine, maybe a small drop in frames here and there, but nothing that makes me want to bash my head into a wall like I experienced with Planet Zoo, which is unfortunate because I adore Planet Zoo and I want to spend the most time in it. And I could probably sit here for the entirety of the video and talk about optimizing Planet Zoo 2 and my big wish list, but let's just talk about the build instead. So yeah, I created a really simple hard shelter. This is obviously where the staff will come in and care for the animals as well. I just used these stained wood pieces I've been using throughout the zoo, and I wanted a kind of interesting shape, but I knew that I wanted at least one overpass for the animals to go between the aviaries and the shelter. And as I was kind of mapping out the habitat, I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to have a lot of enrichment throughout the aviaries that the staff could get to. And it did work on my first go, thankfully, but I wanted to make the first crossover accessible to the staff as well. And so that's why I'm using these huge, obnoxious pieces to create a steady ramp. And I did make the shelter quite big, so it works out. And the area underneath the ramp is actually where I put most of the bedding for the cats, and it's kind of cozy and cute under there. And yeah, the mesh overpass, which we are getting to now, is huge. And one, because I hadn't seen the cougars in game, and two, because I wanted to at least try and have the staff be able to go over this, and they do. So I didn't have to worry about where the habitat gate was. Just put all the food stuff in the first cluster of aviaries and in the shelter, and it's completely fine. Yeah, so it was pretty much around this point that I really started noticing issues with me placing things, so if you do see my mouse or the footage just kind of stand still for a few seconds, that's why. I'm hoping I've sped everything up and I've cut out quite a lot of footage, because I had so much footage because it took me so long to do all of this. But I'm hoping it doesn't really come across in the speed build. But if it does, that's why I'm just sitting there staring at my PC and waiting for the freakout to be over. I also do bounce between tasks more than usual with this build, because I just wanted to see where the limits were, where, if this part of the area was a bit better to build in versus this one, etc. So I hope there's a clean line of continuation throughout the footage, and I apologize if there's not. But the key to getting the animals to use the entirety of the habitat, or rather the areas that you want them to, is putting down lots of enrichment. And while the cougars don't technically have a climbing requirement, I don't think, they can. So, and because we're in a North America focused zoo, they were pretty much the one major active climber that I could have, that I wanted. So yeah, they do use all of the bits that I put down, thankfully, if not a bit awkwardly because it's Planet Zoo. And thankfully, at this point, the one cougar did have enough space with the original 3 aviaries, but I wanted another overpass, and I basically just wanted to, it didn't look big enough visually to me, so I wanted to give them a bit more space, and that ended up being enough for a second cougar. And yes, in the back of my mind, I want a kitten, so I tried to make each one a little bit different and still maintain the overgrown lushness that I wanted to convey in the entire area. I know this isn't really realistic to Planet Zoo's engine, but if this was in real life, the cougars might be nestled up into a corner of one of these platforms, and you have to wander around the whole complex to try and spot them. And that's kind of what I had in my head. I thought about building a hammock in one of the aviaries, going across the middle, but I, again, just mentally wanted to move on. And throughout the habitat, I've used a lot of beams, a lot of poles, a lot of support. So I covered most of them with ropes to basically be implied scratching posts for the cougars as well. To be honest, there was a lot of back and forth between me and the animals about where they could and couldn't go, and if they were happy with how things were. There were a few times I put a tree down that just took up way too much space. So anyway, yeah, all the enrichment in the world they have, I think their requirement is quite small, but still need them to go in all of the corners of the habitat. And finally, we're on to the arduous task of IVifying this whole complex. I actually wanted all 4 of the aviaries to be completely covered, their whole tops to be overgrown with ivy and vines and, lots of plants. And after doing the crossing bridges, I just said maybe one day and wax a few pieces down, did some periwinkle leaves, and yeah, here we are, doing a voiceover for the video. So it was ambitious to begin with, to be honest. No, it really wasn't. This was a pretty easy build. It was just the having to stop for 5 seconds every time I place something down, and having to delay the video and everything. I did just kind of want it to be done. And yeah, you can see here I'm having to stop quite often. Right, so me moaning out of the way, I will probably not have a video for you guys this weekend either, and I am just a bit behind, but I'm also traveling at the end of this week, so I will probably just take a small break the time that I am away, which is about a week and a half. I will have lots of shorts going out though from all the content that's already on the channel, and of course I'll be on Discord and things. I will just be away from my PC, so won't really have access to my editing software, let alone Planet Zoo itself. But we will see. Maybe I will just pull an all-nighter tomorrow and get the next habitat finished. It's actually not going to be in the section. Again, I just wanted to give myself a bit of breathing space after my experience with this one. I mentioned that whereas we have the forest on the side of the zoo, we will have a kind of plains desert, not themed, but focused area on the other side. And I've already started on the first project for that area. So let me know if you have any species that you would want to see in that area. I only have a few ideas, to be honest. I was more excited about this area, so we will see. But as always, thank you so much for being here. I'm really happy with how everything is going so far, and getting to talk to a bunch of other Planet Zoo nerds. Yeah, it's a lovely experience. Thank you so much for your kind interactions and your comments. I do read all of them, and if I take a bit to respond, that's just because I live in Southeast Asia, so I might be like 12 hours, 16 hours ahead of you, depending on where you are. But I do read all of them, and they do mean the world to me, absolutely. So yeah, this is probably the final bit of foliage work, just the detailing around all the rocks I placed and everything. I use the rocks mostly just to fill up the space and make it feel, more full, more lively, I guess, but they're rocks. And I took a lot of foliage from the raccoon enclosure that we built last week as well. But yeah, truthfully, there was so much footage of me arguing with this buffalo grouse that I cut out. If you're really interested to see it, let me know. Could post like a supercut or something, or even do a live stream here and there. Probably not, because that terrifies me. But yeah, let me know if you guys have anything specific you want to see from me. Like I've said before, if there are any like blueprints that you see me using that you want to know, I will happily give you the link. Just leave me a comment. And finally, we're inside. The lag was not much of a problem inside, thankfully, so I could do what I wanted, but by this point I was pretty tired of looking at this habitat. But yeah, just adding some safety railings for safety and realism, and there are workers going up there, so not as balanced as the big cats. And here's the hay I mentioned, just going in nice and cozy, like under the stairs, Harry Potter style. And if you notice, when I was building the structure at the beginning of the video, I included like a bit of an extension on the side, on the left side, and originally I had it in my head that I was going to have, a keeper hut, maybe something else in there for the staff. And because of where I've nestled it behind the alligators, it just wasn't really that accessible. So I decided to just do a bit more detailing, because my PC wasn't trying to throw itself off a cliff. So I added a small kitchen that would be used to prep food for animals in the area. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Again, thank you for watching. I apologize for the delay, both past and upcoming, but it does mean the world that you're here, and we have some lovely cinematics for you, so let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, please connect with me on Instagram, email, anything to Talk Planet Zoo. If you want some billboards, anything like that, just let me know. And yeah, have a great rest of your week, and I'll keep you guys updated on new content. Bye.